Americans and soon to be Americans. Cook, gamers, cook. I hope you're ready. It's gonna be crazy. Karoline Leavitt, Trump's press secretary, made a press briefing to officially announce the length and girth of Donald Trump's orange penis. The entire house is shaking and right now because Donald Trump gave his congressional speech. He went up there, you know, I went all 7 swing states, large cock, Gulf of America, border crossings, Democrats, L Democrats, you know, and honestly, according to the polls, 76% of Americans actually liked his speech. Now, that's crazy. That's absolutely insane. That's a crazy number. And to be honest, it's deserved. His speech was straight fire. I didn't react it because he basically just kind of repeated all the stuff that I've been covering over the course of the shit. And as you know, I basically only cover stuff when I have plenty of commentary to add. So Karoline Leavitt, not only is she apparently going to be addressing all sorts of questions after his address to Congress, but also on Democrats for being bitches during the entire congressional speech. Yes, a lot of people started yelling and screaming and protesting, getting thrown out. There was a 13-year-old kid with brain cancer that got an award, and somehow the Democrats, the tolerant left, the people that care about diversity and stuff, they didn't even clap for a 13-year-old kid with brain cancer. Unbelievable shit. So anyway, let's dive into this, and then we'll see what happens from there. But I'm excited.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How are we? I
We are
apologize
good.
for my tardiness. It's quite the newsy day, and I was with the president talking about that news, so I look forward to taking your questions on it. But first, I want to talk about President Trump's historic and incredible speech last night.
All right.
The American people and the entire world watched President Trump powerfully lay out how he's renewing the American dream in a record-breaking joint address to Congress.
Also, just want to say the cross is back. In my last video, I complained that she took her cross off, and she brought it back. I'm not Christian, but the fact that the internet bullied her to take her cross off is bull. So I'm happy that it's back, personally.
And Americans loved what they heard. According to a CBS YouGov survey, an overwhelming 76% of those watching approved.
God damn! 76%! 76% approval! That's crazy! She probably watched your video. She probably didn't. But sure. Oh my god! Dude, oh my lord. And dude, the backlash was unbelievable. Like, from random Twitter retards. It just goes to show that it's a vocal minority and these people have no actual power. Like, to be clear, the level of retard, DJ Daniel, a 13-year-old kid with brain cancer, was given the honor of becoming a Secret Service member. And, of course, people freak out. Hey, Doge, it's a DEI hire. Bro, you're making fun of a 13-year-old kid with brain cancer, okay? Who is the party of empathy now? What is going on?
Of President Trump's speech last night. The president spoke about how he's taken more than 400 executive actions on his...
Dude, this graph is fucking killing me. 76% approval rating. And this is Donald Trump, the so-called most hated guy ever. Dude, the media is so fucking cooked. They're so cooked.
Key promises. The expectations were high, and President Trump is exceeding them. According to brand new polling from the Daily Mail, President Trump has never been more popular, and his approval ratings are reaching historic highs.
I told you guys, you would get tired of winning.
Americans believe America is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. Everyday Americans love this president because he tells it like it is, no matter what.
He does.
And he did that last night.
He does.
President Trump level set with the American people on the economy and exposed how badly Joe Biden screwed it up by causing the worst inflation crisis in 4 decades. President Trump was honest about where we are while making clear that help is on the way. As the president...
Dude, she is cooking and he fucking cooked. The craziest thing is seeing the Democrats so annoyed at Trump that they're not even gonna like support kids with cancer. They're not gonna support good things. He did objectively good things, all right? Bro cut thousands of dollars, millions of dollars of waste. No one's happy. Never would have happened if I was president.
Declared last night he will make America affordable again. Last night, you also saw
The only thing that the Democrats clapped for was Ukraine. Not even America. Bro, they complained that tax dollars are being saved. They complained that people aren't dying of fentanyl as much. They're complaining that illegal immigration is low, but they clapped for Ukraine. Just goes to show where their priorities are.
Who motivates the president to work so hard? Everyday Americans, who President Trump shined a spotlight on last night in his speech. From Mark Fogel, who President Trump was finally able to reunite with his family and his beautiful 95-year-old mother after
he was a prisoner in Russia.
Being detained in Russia.
And Biden couldn't do anything about it. Trump comes in office, gets him out immediately. Trump bad, Orange Man bad. How dare the Orange Man rescue American citizens that are hostages? In case you're unaware, just in case you're curious, there is currently an American citizen hostage by Hamas terrorists, but the Democrats don't care about him either.
To Peyton McNabb, whose heart-wrenching story motivated President Trump to end men in women's sports. And to Allison and Lauren Phillips, the mother and daughter and sister of Laken Riley, who President Trump honored by signing the Laken Riley Act to ensure her name will live on.
Can we all come to this together? All right, there is a girl that was murdered by violent illegal immigrants that were already arrested and then released under Biden. He honored her in his speech, and the Democrats didn't clap. Like, we have gone off the deep end of retarded. This is levels of retarded no one has ever seen before.
Forever. In other amazing and surprise moments, President Trump honored the life of Jocelyn Nungare, who was brutally murdered by illegal alien gang members. He ensured Jocelyn will never be forgotten by renaming a national wildlife refuge in her home state of Texas to honor her life. And in one of the greatest surprise moments of the night, DJ Daniel, an incredible 13-year-old boy who is beating brain cancer, saw his dreams fulfilled by President Trump when he was made an honorary Secret Service agent.
Isn't that like the most wholesome thing in the universe? Only Trump would do something like that, to be honest. It's such a Trump move. Like, kid with brain cancer at 13 actually lived his dream and became a Secret Service. It's literally the most beautiful and wholesome thing of all time. Like, unbelievable. Just so wildly wholesome. Want to see the media's response? Want to see the media's response? So this is the clip, this is DJ Daniel becoming a Secret Service member. Right, this is DJ Daniel, the kid with brain cancer.
What a good-looking family, huh?
There's one more thing I got for you, a big hug.
Okay, good. That's very nice.
Aw, dude, it's like the most wholesome thing ever!
Very nice. How are you? Nice to see
Bro,
you.
well, you can hate Trump all you want. Honestly, I don't give a shit about your opinions. But if you're gonna use this little kid with brain cancer as your pundit, like, that is insane. Dude, this is how the media covered it, all right? MSNBC, ready? Ready for the media coverage of an objectively wholesome thing? I'm sure they can't find a way to spin this one.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when
Wow, she's actually being so wholesome. Wow, I misjudged the media.
He knows what he wants to do.
I can't believe I misjudged the media like this.
You have childhood cancer that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump supporters. And if he he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope...
What? This is a 13-year-old kid with brain cancer. What?
Hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
How on earth could you turn this situation into... Well, I hope when Donald Trump incites a riot, you're not the police officer that gets murdered. Great way to twist that one. Yeah, damn, can't wait to see her say the same thing about George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter riots. I'm sure she has the same opinions about that. actual evil shit. She was so close to not being completely heartless. Damn, that's crazy. Anyway.
And finally, after nearly 4 years, President Trump delivered justice for the families of the 13 American heroes who were killed at Abbey Gate in the Biden-botched Afghanistan withdrawal, which was one of the worst humiliations in the history of our country.
Joe Biden, old cock, and it's small and old. Joe Biden, we don't like him. Worst president in the history of the United States. It was just his 360th birthday. I bought him a tampon for being the world's oldest pussy.
President Trump announced that we have detained Mohammed Sharifullah, the monster who was responsible for that horrific attack, and he was delivered to Dulles Airfield earlier this morning. On his first day in office, President Trump's national security team across the federal government prioritized intelligence gathering to locate this evil individual. President Trump's team shared intelligence with regional partners such as Pakistan, who helped identify this monster in the borderland area late last month.
That's so weird that this shit happened after Trump was elected. Why didn't Biden do any of this? Weird. Cringe and strange.
Mohammed confessed to his crimes related to Abbey Gate and other attacks in Russia and Iran as well to the Pakistanis.
Wow.
And U.S. law enforcement officers traveled to Pakistan over the weekend, where he again confessed his crimes to the FBI. As President Trump said last night, this killer will now face the swift sword of American justice for these atrocities right here on United States soil.
Fuck those terrorist asses.
Joe Biden was responsible for this botched withdrawal, and he had 3 years to find this evil terrorist.
Did he?
And he didn't even try to get the job done. But
Unbelievable. Unbelievable how incompetent that guy is. It's insane. God damn. How do these people like literally find new ways to hate Trump for like this? But the price of eggs, Mr. President!
President Trump campaigned on behalf of and grew very close to the Gold Star families. He promised them accountability. And last night, he kept his promise. He spoke to those Gold Star families yesterday, ahead of his speech, in an incredibly heartwarming call to share this incredible news.
Damn.
And as President Trump asked in his speech last night, how could anyone possibly be opposed to any of this?
Don't worry, they'll find a way. Listen, having transgender women in female sports was always a bigger priority than finding terrorists. I'm glad that the Biden administration actually took things seriously.
Action that he is taking. Well, apparently, the modern-day Democrat Party could. The behavior of Democrats last night was completely disgraceful and demonstrated how severely out of touch they are with the American public.
Oh, yeah.
It was the most shameful moment in the history of presidential addresses in that beautiful chamber. In what was supposed to be a unifying moment for our country, Democrat members of Congress instead screamed at the President of the United States.
They're like waving canes at him, holding up signs. Bro, those unbelievable bitches. It's incredible. The people in that room, literally, the poor blue whale used to be known for having the biggest pussy in the world. And then the Democratic Party of America showed up, literally dropped the blue whale down to like 12th place.
Who was just overwhelmingly reelected by their constituents, walked out of the chamber, and worst of all, they disrespected the American people.
No, those guys were lame as fuck. Holy shit, that was amazing. I was thinking of doing like an entire video just looking at the best lefties losing it meltdowns for the Trump shit, but maybe I will. Maybe I'll still do that. Because goddamn, those guys were humiliating.
Democrats didn't stand.
I mean, for me personally, I enjoyed it. I know everyone was like, damn, I hate that the Democrats are making this noise, and I'm just there, you know, rubbing my hands together in the most stereotypical Jewish fashion, thinking about the content that I'm gonna make. Chaos! Keep cooking, gamers, yes!
And to keep men out of women's sports.
Keep being lamer and gayer than ever before.
They couldn't even clap for a girl who got her head smashed in by a man on a volleyball court. Democrats didn't stand for an innocent and beautiful child who is surviving brain cancer.
Bruh.
They opposed eliminating taxes on tips and Social Security.
They opposed everything just because Trump said it. That's how they'll always lose. They'll never win.
They didn't stand in favor of cutting taxes for hardworking Americans. They couldn't even clap for two mothers whose daughters were killed by illegal aliens.
Yeah, how, bro? How could you be so inhuman that you hate Trump so much that you can't even show solidarity with mothers that lost their daughters?
One of the only things that could get Democrats off their feet last night was cheering for Ukraine, not for America. Last night was a very clarifying moment for our country. The Democrats exposed themselves as the party of insanity and hate.
Damn! I mean, true. They humiliated themselves. The thing is, Trump doesn't humiliate the Democrats nearly as much as the Democrats humiliated themselves lately. It's embarrassing and humiliating, and very fun for me personally.
The party that wants to put America last. They've allowed their Trump derangement syndrome to stop them from celebrating America and our people, and we will not allow them to forget that. And it's not just the Democrat Party. The mainstream media still doesn't get it.
They're fucking around and they're finding out they're just talking into the void. Their ratings are tanking. They're so cooked.
Last night, MSNBC's Nicole Wallace disgustingly looped in a 13-year-old boy with brain cancer into an attack on the president over January.
Dude, that's what I just showed you.
6th. And CNN's first Chiron out of the speech called it divisive. President Trump wasn't divisive. The Democrats.
Bro, his speech was the least divisive speech I've ever seen. Like, literally. He wasn't even controversial. His speech was literally him just saying, we closed the border, less deaths from fentanyl, we are cutting waste, we're helping this kid with brain cancer, we are being wholesome, we're trying to help the country. He didn't even say anything controversial. I mean, like, dude, literally. Dude was just standing. We won all 7 swing states. Biden was lame, gay, and old. Older than he's even gay.
That's where. And CNN was proven wrong by their own viewers, 69% of whom, in a post-speech poll, said they had a positive reaction.
Oh my God! 69% of CNN viewers had positive reactions. CNN! Oh my Lord, that's crazy.
To the president's speech. It's sad and frankly pathetic that Democrats and liberals in the legacy media continue to allow their hatred for the president to override their love for our country. But nevertheless, the president will continue to unify this nation through policies that are grounded in common sense and that uplift all Americans.
Dude, they're so cooked. And the funny thing is, CNN actively fearmongers all day. Like, the actual CNN people, like, they go out there, they fearmonger. Trump is coming. He's coming for your pussies. He'll grab you all. He wants to kill gay people. He likes doing that. He bathes in the blood of gay people. He hates black people. He wants to kill everyone except for some people. That's CNN. CNN sits there fear-mongering the whole time. And even their brainwashed audience was like, wait, this Trump speech was actually, like, good. What's going on?
We have an individual in our new media seat today, Mary Margaret Olohan, who is the Daily Wire's first ever White House correspondent.
Holy shit, the Daily Wire has a seat in this room? God damn! Huge dub. God damn!
Congratulations, Mary Margaret. The Daily Wire was founded 10 years ago by Ben Shapiro. The Daily Wire now has over 1 million paid subscribers, a monthly network reach of 138 million, and has evolved into a leading conservative multimedia giant. They are now the 5th largest podcast network in the world and home to some of the top-ranked shows. With that, I will take your questions, and Mary Margaret, why don't you kick us off?
All right.
Thank you so much, Karoline. It's great to be here.
Thanks.
So I had 2 questions, if that's okay. The first on last night and the second on Maine. You talked about behavior from Democrat lawmakers, a lot of disruptions, and I just wanted to kind of go back to that. We saw Democrat lawmakers not stand for Laken Riley, for Peyton McNabb, for the son of a slain police officer and 13-year-old cancer survivor. What are the optics of that nationally, just in terms of not just the people who were in the room last night, but across the nation? And also, was President Trump expecting this type of behavior when he was crafting his speech?
So I gave a quote
that's a good question.
To one of the media outlets in this room yesterday that Democrats behaving like children would be the least surprising thing of the night.
Oh, God, dude. The funniest thing is, the Democrats literally proved the Republicans right. They literally just proved Trump right every time. Trump is like, they all come out, they go, wow, 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 acting like babies. I walked in, I was like, wow, is this kindergarten or are they Democrats? That's crazy. And the funniest thing is they literally prove him right. Oh my God.
And unfortunately, that quote did turn out to be true. I think the president and everyone...
I love how she says unfortunately because she actually wants there to be some sort of peace and Nah, bro. Nah, dude. I completely disagree. I subscribe for chaos, and so should you. I am literally here for chaos. Give me all the chaos. Literally. 100% of the time. You know what, Democrats? You know what? Until you actually get your shit together and make your party a little bit better, you know what I think you should do? I think you should have Kamala Harris run for 2028. I'm just saying, I really think it's a good move. I think Kamala Harris, she would do a fantastic job. Cannot wait to see her debate Vance in 2028. Holy schniblets, she would get obliterated. She would get glorbled instantly. Nux is chaotic lawful, he is loyal to chaos. Listen, that's your opinion. I personally think that the Democrats, until they actually get their shit together, they should just keep literally proving themselves as losers. Until they actually have something to say. And I'm waiting for it. I want the Democrats to be a good party. But until they're a good party, I want them to keep losing. Like, badly. This is my opinion on literally everything. I want either big victories or disgraceful defeats. That's what I want. Huge downfalls and massive W's. That's what I want. I will support Kamala running in 2028 every day.
Frankly, was surprised by the Democrats refusing to stand for not the president's policies, because frankly we expected that, but for the everyday Americans who President Trump was shining a light on their stories. Mark Fogel, for instance, an American school teacher who was detained by the Russians. President Trump freed him. If Joe Biden had done that, they all would have been on their feet, but because of it came from...
I mean, I think that just goes to show that it's all just because of Trump. Like, dude, they hate Trump so badly that they don't support kids with cancer. Bro, you could be a sociopathic terrorist fuck and you would feel bad for kids with cancer. How could you hate Trump more than you have basic human empathy?
From President Trump, they weren't. So we think it's very sad, but we're very proud of the president today. And the American people are the people that this president cares about most, and the reviews are in, and everybody loved his speech.
Thank you. And then on Maine, we know that the governor of Maine has really pushed back against the president's executive order saying that boys should not be in girls' sports. I spoke with a lawmaker from Maine this morning who told me she'd been censured by state lawmakers for calling a man and speaking up on this. What is the next move for the White House in this battle to protect the integrity of women's sports?
Yeah, well, the Department of Education has sued the state of Maine. As you know, there's
more chaos, more fireworks. We love it.
Ongoing litigation. The president has made a commitment to ensure that states are being held accountable if they continue to allow men in women's sports, which he believes is an egregious violation of taxpayer dollars. And so that fight
and women's rights, probably.
Continues, and the president won't back down. Again, this is a common sense policy. 80% of the American people, including more than 60% of Democrats, do.
God damn. Dude, the transgender people in women's sports is the most basic argument in the world. No normal, rational person thinks that transgender people should be in women's sports. They have biological advantages, okay? That's the reason why there's a delineation between gendered sports altogether. Because men would beat the fuck out of women. There is a biological difference. So the fact that this is literally, 80% of the country actually agrees that you should not have transgender people in women's sports. But because Trump said it, they have to literally fight for the most unbelievable anti-common sense thing of all time. Oh my God! Literally. And they push back too much and they literally die on a hill. It's not even a hill. They die on like a relatively low mound. They literally ass fuck themselves into submission. It's unbelievable. They coat their dildos with sandpaper before inserting it down their own throats. Like, unbearably foolish shit. And that's why they'll keep losing.
Do not want men and women.
Trump will say, I love breathing. I support breathing. You know, putting oxygen into your lungs. I fully support breathing. And then all the Democrats surprisingly die of asphyxiation the next day. Like, that's the bullshit that you're seeing.
Sports. So the president will stand by this commitment. Thank you. Gabe, good to see you in here.
Good to see you, Caroline. A couple questions. One, can you confirm that the president held talks with the big three automakers today, speaking about potentially delaying tariffs?
I can confirm, and I'm glad that you asked, because the president sent me out here with a statement directly from him on this. I saw it was reported earlier.
You know who else breathed just like Trump? Hitler. Stop doing that shit now.
There today by
Sorry. Back to tariffs.
Bloomberg News, and he wanted me to share this with all of you. We spoke with the big three auto dealers. We are going to give a 1-month exemption on any autos coming through USMCA.
Ooh.
Reciprocal tariffs will still go into effect on April 2nd.
As they should.
But at the request of the companies associated with USMCA, the president is giving them an exemption for 1 month so they are not at an economic disadvantage. So the three companies that he spoke to are Stellantis, Ford, and General Motors. They requested the call, they made the ask, and the president is happy to do it. It's a 1-month exemption.
And the president just posted on social media that he had spoken with Prime Minister Trudeau. He says he's not satisfied with what the Prime Minister has said when it
means the governor.
comes to fentanyl, but less than 1%, as you know, less than 1% of the fentanyl seized last year was in the northern border. What else does Canada need to do?
It's a good question. In fact, my Canada is 100% fucked video should already be out. So you can definitely look at my entire hot take over there.
Well, the president did just put out a statement on his call with the governor, Justin Trudeau, as he calls
Oh my God!
him of Canada, and he said that he was not pleased, as you said. He said it's not good enough. He told Prime Minister Justin Trudeau that directly. The call ended in a somewhat friendly manner, as the president said, but he's not going to stop standing up for the American people. And to answer your question directly, when it comes to fentanyl, for the last 4 years, unfortunately, our neighbors to the north and the south, Canada and Mexico respectively, have allowed America to be a dumping ground, not just for illegal aliens, but for illegal, poisonous, deadly fentanyl, which is now the #1 killer of young people in this country aged 18 to...
Also, just wanted to say, Trudeau, at some point, the governor of Canada, Trudeau tried, by the way, tried to legalize fentanyl. Okay? Or maybe not legalize, but decriminalize. And, just thought I should mention that. Another thing that's important to mention. Here are some historic tariffs that Canada hits America with. 270% tariffs on milk, 245% tariffs on cheese, 298% tariffs on butter, 238% tariffs on chicken, sausages, barley seed, bovine meat. You get the fucking you get the idea. All right, these are tariffs that Canada's always had on America, or historically had on America. Now America wants to basically do reciprocal tariffs to this shit. And oh my God, is Trump engaging in a tariff war, a trade war happening? This is incredible. I can't believe he would do this. Canada has always been your closest friends. I can't believe this. This has literally always been before America ever did tariffs. All right, I hate to be the blue retard to say this, but it turns out the orange retard just doesn't want America to consistently get taken advantage of by every other country on the planet and just actively always be a massive, huge dumping ground and piggy bank for all of Canada. And the world, to be honest. Literally the world. So, if there are tariffs like this historically that Canada has been imposing on Americans, then why on earth shouldn't Trump tariff them back for exactly this? Everyone was always talking about, oh, what about free trade? There was never free trade. America was literally Canada's bottom bitch. And Trump's basically just saying, not anymore. And everyone's freaking out because, oh, I can't believe this. We've always taken your lunch money. Why are you no longer giving us your lunch money?
To 34. Through the northern border in Canada, in last fiscal year alone, there was enough fentanyl seized to kill 4.8 billion people. And that number is up 2,050% from 2023, the year before. So there's been more than a 2,000% increase. And
it's true, it's only 1% of fentanyl or whatever, but that is largely because, you know, the Mexico border is a lot worse. Like, let's be real. Saying it's 1% is basically just saying Mexico's real bad. Congratulations, Canada. Oh my God.
Legal fentanyl seizure at the northern border. Why? Because Canada is allowing that fentanyl to come to the United States. The president sees these numbers, he thinks about the lives that are lost, and everybody in this room, I'm sure, everybody watching at home, everybody across the country knows someone in our lives who has been killed at the hands of this deadly poison. There needs to be repercussions for that. The president feels very strongly about it.
But Caroline, respectfully, it's just 43 pounds that were found last year. That's less than a carry-on suitcase. Is that a lot of fentanyl compared to, say, Mexico, with a vast majority of the...
I love how he always compares it, like literally every time. It's like, why do we care about the Hamas terrorists that killed 1,200 innocent people when the Hezbollah terrorists killed 500,000 innocent people? Retard detected, ladies and gentlemen. We found him. He's right over... Look, guys, he's literally right over here. Retard detected.
Fentanyl is brought in through Mexico, not Canada. So what else does Canada need to do?
Well, I just told you, last year alone, there was a 2,000% increase in illegal fentanyl. You're asking...
43 pounds is a lot! I'm sorry, bro. Like, what? It's only 43 pounds, guys. It's literally only 43 pounds. Yeah, I can kill all of Rhode Island, but who cares?
You're asking me for what...
It's in fact a lot more than the 0 pounds of fentanyl that should have been coming in.
The president's justification is for these tariffs. It's not up to you. You're not the president, Gabe. And frankly, I think it's a little bit disrespectful to the families in this country who have lost loved ones at the hands of this deadly poison. If you talk to them, and this president has, they are grateful that they finally have a president who is standing up to both Canada and Mexico, and most importantly, to China as well. The president added an additional 10% tariff on China because this deadly poison is being produced in that country. It's being distributed through our neighbors, and there needs to be consequences for that, period.
I cannot believe the Democrats aren't thinking about George Floyd, who tragically had a ton of fentanyl in his system. My heart goes out to that man.
Peter.
Thank you, Caroline. If the U.S. has a long-standing policy that we do not negotiate with terrorists, then why is the U.S.
Ooh, that's an interesting question.
Now negotiating directly and for the first time ever with Hamas?
Just saying, but before the Hamas question, I'm sure people are going to take that out of context and try to cancel me for it. That was sarcasm. That was sarcasm. It was a joke. It was a funny joke, which is why I said it, but I stand by it.
Then why is the U.S. now negotiating directly and for the first time ever with Hamas?
Well, when it comes to the negotiations that you're referring to, first of all, the special envoy who's engaged in those negotiations does have the authority to talk to anyone. Israel was consulted on this matter. And look, dialogue and talking to people around the world to do what's in the best interest of the American people is something that the president has proven is what he believes is good faith effort to do what's right for the American people.
So it turns out Israel was consulted. Did you hear what she just said? That Israel was consulted about the peace talks with Hamas? Did you hear what she just said? Now, let me show you my favorite leftist political commentator of all time. Well known as Hamas Piker. Supporter of terrorists extraordinaire. We've covered him recently. Let's see what he had to say about this.
And then literally things. So Trump and his admin sidestep Israel to directly talk to Hamas envoys.
No! In fact, you're literally wrong.
Israel found out about it and then literally turned around and leaked it to the press.
Nope.
And then
none of that true.
We'll get to the details in a second. But
out,
what ended up happening, ended up happening in the process
What did happen?
Was Donald Trump coming out and saying unhinged ass bullshit about Hamas.
So that was all lies. Hey, that's just Hamas Piker. Why should he care about honesty or integrity when he's reporting the news? Good old Hamas Piker. Let's make Israel the bad guys, literally whenever we can. Am I right, gamers? Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, anyway, so Israel was informed, and he just sits there and he's like, oh, it turns out the Hamas got backstabbed by Israel to Trump. And
is it just about the hostages, Or are they also talking about the president's plan to take over Gaza?
These are ongoing talks and discussions. I am not going to detail them here. There are American lives at stake. I would defer you to the Department of State for further details, but I'm not going to get into those talks here at this podium.
We know that some officials here were miffed that Zelensky showed up last week without a suit for his meeting in the Oval Office.
Oh my God.
But Elon Musk never wears a suit.
My God, I made that same joke when they complained to Zelensky about the suit. Did he just say Elon never wears a suit? Wait, hold on. First of all, just saying, Elon is not the leader of a fucking nation coming to ask Trump for money, last I checked. All right, that's first. I'm just out before she answers. Second of all, in case you were curious, because of course this is a thing that happens all the time. Did you see when Elon was in Congress during the congressional hearing?
Create.
Ah! He's wearing a suit. That's crazy. Look at that. Literally the guy working for free as a favor to America, or at least half of America, is wearing a suit. Unbelievable.
He did last night.
So what is the
She cooked him.
dress code?
Well,
Dude, it's such a bitch question. What's the dress code? Unbelievable, dumb, bullshit, bitch question.
well, Elon Musk wore a suit last night. I'm sure you saw it.
Was he spooked by the
it looked.
Zelensky getting kicked out?
No, I don't think so. I'm just pointing out
Also, Zelensky wasn't kicked out for wearing a suit.
that he did wear a suit last night, and I think the president liked that very much, and he looked great. Speaking of the president, he just passed me a note while I'm standing here. He wanted me to hold this up. This is the poll that I cited, the CBS YouGov
Trump literally said, okay, we know you quoted this poll. Show it to them. Show them the paper. Show them the paper.
poll that shows that 76% of those who watched the president's speech last night approved of his speech. And so it goes to my earlier point that I made in my monologue about how incredibly sad it is that we have a modern day Democrat Party who is so severely out of touch with the American public.
True, but that is the funniest thing in the world. You know, Trump is just watching this live stream while he's, eating shit and drinking Diet Coke, and he's like, give her a paper. Power move. Just show it to them in writing. Oh my God.
This is a great poll.
Look at the size of my poll. My poll, it's so big and orange and girthy. Look at the size of my poll. I mean, I'm winning in the polls.
The ultimate poll, though, came on November 5th when the president won by an overwhelming margin.
There's no way.
He spoke about last night. Democrats weren't
True, all 7 swing states, I heard.
happy to hear that either. Ouija.
Thank you, Caroline. Back on tariffs, last night President Trump said there will be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. Can you put a dollar figure amount on how much the
Obviously not. Stupid question.
average American family should expect to pay as this disturbance? And why should Americans be okay with that when so many are already struggling to pay the bills?
Well, first of all, last night, the president told the truth, and he was realistic. And
Wow, the president that told the truth. That's crazy.
And he level set with the American people. And I think, frankly, it's very refreshing. And everybody in this room should be very grateful that we have a president who tells the truth about the reality of the economic situation that we are in. Unlike the previous president who lied to everybody's faces, saying inflation was transitory, saying it was under control, saying that the border was secure, when none of that was true. So the president is being frank and honest. And the American people elected this president to have monumental reform and change, including rebuilding our manufacturing base in this country.
She's right. This is literally what they voted him in for. He always talked about tariffs. Tariffs were always going to make it more difficult in the beginning. That's how tariffs work. Tariff means you're paying more shit for stuff to be imported to incentivize you to actually get jobs and work in America. It is actively going to make things worse in the beginning. That is how tariffs work. And despite that, he was still voted into power. So him saying Americans will be okay with that is because that is literally what Americans voted him to do. So, to be quite honest, in my opinion, that is an incredibly based statement of Trump. Especially because they literally, like, Kamala said that the border was secure during the Biden presidency, and that was a fucking lie. But I would way rather a president being honest about shitty news than a president lying about great news.
Standing up to foreign nations who have been ripping off our country for decades, and that requires a little bit of disruption. That requires a lot of effort and work that this president is focused on doing. With that said, as the president said last night, his administration is wholeheartedly committed, of course, to ending the inflation nightmare caused by the Biden administration. Look at the deregulation efforts. Look at the president's push last night in his speech for Congress to pass tax cuts, to end taxes on Social Security and overtime pay for hardworking Americans, end taxes on tips. We need Congress to get that done.
Taxes on tips is like, I think it's criminal. To be honest, I think taxes on tips is borderline terrorism. But anyway, hey, no one comes to me for my political opinions.
Because that's going to put more money back into the pockets of the American people. And I didn't even mention energy. Look at the president's approach and focus on unleashing the might of our energy industry. We know that's the #1 driver of inflation. He's been slashing back a lot of the burdensome regulation from the previous administration to unleash our energy industry here at home, which will drive down costs. He said he is committed to making America affordable again. He did it in his first term, and Americans can trust him to do it again.
President Trump has made clear, Karoline, that he loves tariffs. But
oh my God, she lady, you got your question answered.
The stock market does not. How does he factor that into his decision making?
The stock market.
Well, the president does love tariffs. He said it's one of his favorite words of the English dictionary, and he believes in tariffs because they'll ultimately make America rich again. They're going to raise revenue. They're going to help us pay down our debt. Most importantly, they're going to bring American jobs here back home. So I think for folks on Wall Street who may be concerned, look at what this president did for you in his first term. Wall Street boomed. Stock market boomed. The president expects that to happen again, but most importantly,
5 big booms! Boom! All right, no one gets that reference.
Importantly, Main Street is going to boom, and that's why the president has this whole of government economic approach, which includes tax cuts, tariffs, regulation cuts, and an energy industry that will bring down costs for American consumers. Sure, Monica.
Thank you, Caroline. You mentioned not one Democrat senator voted to protect women's sports from males. Not one Democrat congressman or congresswoman stood to applaud or support protecting women's spaces and sports at the president's joint session to Congress last night, as you articulately mentioned at the beginning. So I'm wondering, what message is that sending to not only young women who are competing in these sports across the country, but also to the parents of these young girls?
Yeah, I think...
God, that's a loaded fucking question. She's basically giving her the line to just absolutely ass fuck the Democrats with that one. Holy shit. She rigged the explosive and she gave her the fucking detonator.
The message that Americans should take away from last night is that they have a president in the Oval Office who is committed to doing what's right for them, especially women and girls across the country.
Kamala is for they, them, but Donald Trump is for you.
And I think it's very ironic, thank you for bringing up the point about women, that Democrat women were wearing pink to support our fellow females, yet they couldn't stand, again, for a young woman who was almost killed and severely injured by a man on the volleyball court.
Honestly, it just means that Democrats only value... Okay, dude, not all Democrats, obviously. I'm just talking about the ones that are so severely anti-Trump that it warps their brains into noodles and pretzels. They are so anti-Trump that it turns out that they're not actually pro-women. They're pro-agenda. They only care when, when certain women issues happen, not other women issues. Women getting brutalized in sports, they don't give a fuck. Women in Israel getting raped by terrorists, they don't care. That doesn't really matter. The only women that matter are the women that help them promote specific agendas. And it's sad. It's kind of crazy. Insane. I hate to be spitting straight facts and fire here, but that's why you subscribe. For the uncouth analysis of shit.
They couldn't stand for the mothers of 2 beautiful young women whose lives were taken tragically at the hands of illegal people. So
I mean, you know why, right? You literally know why. Because once again, women's rights is only if it doesn't go against some sort of political agenda. So if the agenda is being pro-immigration, then if women get raped and murdered by immigrants, then those women's rights don't really matter so much to you. I'll be honest, I'm not trying to be rude, not trying to make any fights with anyone here, even though I'm sure this is gonna get clipped and put on Twitter by some retard. Don't mean to pick fights, but damn, it's pretty hypocritical to only care about women's rights when they get raped by, people you already don't like. Kind of weird.
So you can't say you're the party of women and then support men and women's sports and not stand up for basic law and order and immigration reform that will protect women in this country. That's what President Trump is doing. He's the president for women. Lindsay, good to see you.
The president for women! Oh my god, that's crazy. Nux has some dedicated haters to dive deep into his videos and clip them out of context. Dude, I appreciate my haters so much. They will always be there for me. I love them. I love them. They'll be 360 and taking Social Security from clipping my videos. But no, for real, the crazy shit is Donald Trump, president for women, the best president for women since Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Thank you, Caroline.
Or something.
So, speaking of tariffs, China said yesterday that they're ready for any kind of war with the U.S. Because of these tariffs that have been placed on them, and a Chinese spokesperson also said that the tariffs would not lead to a resolution of U.S. concerns about fentanyl originating in China. Can you speak to how the administration is planning on responding to that?
Well, I think Secretary Hegseth has responded to that this morning. He said that America will always be prepared to defend itself, especially under the leadership of this president in the Oval Office, and that certainly remains true. Again, when it comes to tariffs, the president has been very tough on China, not just now with 20% and more with the reciprocal tariffs that will hit on April 2nd, but look at what he did in his first term. There were billions of dollars worth of tariffs that he implemented on China, and it's quite telling that the previous administration did not rescind those tariffs because they realized the value that they had in not only deterring China, but also raising revenue here in the United States.
China, I know China very well, very much. Love the people there. Anyway, buy Tony's LC signs.
Thanks, Caroline. Just a quick follow-up, two quick follow-ups on tariffs. The president mentioned a little disturbance during his remarks yesterday. The CEO of Target says that consumers will likely see prices go up on everything from strawberries to bananas to avocados. How long should Americans expect to pay higher prices? Are we talking a week, a couple of days, a few months?
Again, I don't have a crystal ball.
There's no answers to these questions. It's like she knows that there's no answer to the question. Why do you even ask the question? Like, what's the point of asking the question? Is it just so that she could basically say that for the people watching that Trump bad? Is it basically just to get people to think about Trump bad? There's no answer to the question. It's not like she actually wants a response.
But what I can assure the American people is that this president and this administration is doing everything they can. And I would remind you and everybody else in this room that it's because of the previous administration's economic policies that Americans were left with record high inflation. Like,
it's such unbelievable ways to phrase questions. It's like, despite Donald Trump's history of raping, sex trafficking, and murdering women, what's your opinion on Trump's stances? It's like when you phrase a question like that, you're just basically putting these false allegations in people's minds. There's no actual opinion. Like, they don't care about the answer. They just want the question to be as damaging as possible. Oh my God.
Throughout Joe Biden's entire 48 months in office was at or above 3%. It hit record highs, as you know. And there's a whole list of what the Biden economic disaster this president was left to clean up. It's been a month, but he's working hard every single day to do just that.
Just one quick follow-up on the carve-out. Sorry to cut you off there. The U.S. imported $43 million worth of eggs from Canada. I know you mentioned some of the exemptions when it comes to automakers. Will there be any other carve-outs, including for eggs? We know prices are soaring for Americans.
The president...
Bro, dude, they keep doing the egg thing. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird that Democrats made up, allegedly, a fake chicken flu last year and caused farmers to kill millions of chickens. And now they're like, I can't believe Trump increased the price of eggs. Like, why is this the #1 issue somehow?
The president is open to hearing about additional exemptions. He always has open dialogue, and he'll always do, what's right, what he believes is right for the American people.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I just have an obsession with eggs. You see, I've given my life to slandering politicians on CNN, and my eggs currently have dried up and fallen out. I'm trying to buy new ones in the fucking grocery store, but unfortunately, they're just far too expensive.
Again, as for the egg crisis in this country, the president is wholeheartedly committed to ensuring we're increasing our egg supply, and we're also bringing down cost. And Secretary Rollins has been all over this issue. She comes from an agricultural background and family. That's why she's leading that very important department. She wrote an amazing op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. She's been all over the media talking about her plan. She has a real plan. The president endorses it. And he even, gave her an off-the-prompter shout-out last night to say, Brooke, I'm counting on you. It's an important issue. And this White House is working with Secretary of Agriculture every single day to address this issue. Sure. Jordan.
Thanks, Caroline. So, what does it say that the Democrats, while they couldn't stand for Americans or stand for victims, they stood for war and clapped for war and clapped for 5 more years of war?
Yeah.
Damn. The media is slowly but surely, I think, changing. I think their new idea of bringing in outside people into this room, this briefing room, is slowly but surely weeding out some of the really insufferable people. And, some of the questions are actually kind of leading her on to get even more savage than earlier.
The president addressed that last night, I think, when he called out Senator Elizabeth Warren and said that, again, as I said in my opening speech, very telling that the Democrats refused to clap for American people and American interests and American priorities, but they did clap for the country of Ukraine, which, by the way, the president's working very hard to end that war. So
The only guy trying to end the war, to be honest. Everyone else wants to continue the war and win and shit like that, but I don't know anyone else that actually wants to end the war in Ukraine. Aside from some of the people in Ukraine.
Should be applauding him for actually doing something about it.
Follow up on that if I can. You've spoken recently about how what happened in the Oval Office last week gave Americans an inside look into behind-the-scenes discussions with Zelenskyy. Is this how he treated Joe Biden and just treated him disrespectfully and received billions of dollars?
Well, yes, actually. There's proof of that. Yes, Zelenskyy did in fact treat Joe Biden disrespectfully and get millions of dollars. Let me see if I can find this. Let me see if I can find this. Womp womp. Alright, check it out, baby!
To lose patience with Zelenskyy. President to lose patience with Zelenskyy. Seems former President Biden lost his temper too, and we know he had one. We saw it many times. A 2022 report has resurfaced since Friday's Oval Office meltdown.
Weird.
And it says, quote, Biden had barely finished telling Zelenskyy he'd just green-lighted another $1 billion in U.S. taxpayer military assistance for Ukraine when Zelenskyy started listing all the additional help he needed and was not getting.
Very excited for people to tell me, oh, that's just Fox News. Why would we trust Fox News? Fox News is right-wing. We want more news. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. We got more news sites for you.
These officials, they said that President Biden finally just got frustrated and lost his temper and told President Zelenskyy, look, you could be a little bit more grateful.
Can't believe
the
it.
reason that this story is interesting to us and is something that we are reporting on and officials are speaking to us about is because it shows that all these months ago, President Biden already realized that there was going to be a point where the American people, members of Congress, where people would start potentially pushing back on all these billions and billions of dollars of Ukraine.
How weird. Turns out it's completely true. Wow, fascinating. What I really want them to ask is not questions that we already know the answers for. I want them to ask, all right, so what does J.D. Vance think about this?
On deck like he's saving up.
What does J.D. Vance think about the memes? Do they offend him? Is he honored? What does J.D. Vance really think of the memes? Does he appreciate the fact that he is basically taken over the internet? Or is he offended somehow in some way? Twitter is unusable. I'm trying to get updates on whether we're in the recession the third time this week, and all I'm seeing are J.D. Vance memes. See, these are the real questions that American people want to know. Please answer. Okay, wow, that was awful. People want to know. All right, but anyway.
Well, it's a very interesting question. I don't know if anybody in here asked my predecessor who stood at this podium about that, but there was a report from NBC News that
aliens will show up to Earth in 1,000 years. They're gonna look for ancient records, and no one will know what J.D. Vance actually looked like. Oh, the crazy thing is I like J.D. Vance, but these memes are fucking awesome. Holy shit.
President Biden also got increasingly frustrated with President Zelensky when he was handing out blank checks and President Zelensky kept asking for more. Joe Biden was quite frustrated with that. So again, as I've said repeatedly, Friday revealed the frustrations that this administration has had in.
And Biden also. Of course, Trump is considered a bully when he pushes back on Zelensky, but Biden getting angry at Zelensky? Nah.
Closed door negotiations.
Biden was too busy being Zelensky's pimp, trying to pimp out as much fucking money as he possibly could, getting nothing in return.
Negotiations with the Ukrainians. However, President Zelensky did put out a statement yesterday, which we believe is a positive step forward. And National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has been talking to his Ukrainian counterparts. And so we're in the midst of this, and we'll see what happens next. Caitlin.
Thanks, Caroline. I have two questions. One on the reprieve that is being granted to these three automakers for 1 month on the tariffs on Canada and Mexico. How did the president settle on 1 month?
The reciprocal tariff.
He probably just pulled it out of his ass. Why did the president decide on this? I don't know. He felt like it was right, slapped his cock on the table, and everyone agreed.
Tariffs will go into effect on April 2nd, and he feels strongly about that no matter what, no exemption, so that's where the 1 month comes from.
Does he expect them to be able to shift production within a month?
He told them that they should get on it, start investing, start moving, shift production here to the United States of America, where they will pay no tariff. That's the ultimate goal.
And on the conversations between the White House and the Ukrainians and the letter that President Trump revealed last night that he got from President Zelensky, Director Ratcliffe said today that the president has paused also intelligence sharing with Ukraine. Is that temporary or is that permanent?
I believe what the National Security Council told me in regards to that was that they paused or they are reconsidering the funding for Ukraine, as you saw, the pause on the funding. As for intelligence matters, I would refer you to either the National Security Council or the CIA as well.
But they're considering lifting or reinstating the military aid going to Ukraine, which they paused.
Again, it's a pause for a review.
Follow up on that.
Damn, I am so curious about how that happens with Doge, if Doge actually starts looking into the Ukraine spending or whatever. God damn.
Sure.
The president read parts of the letter that he received last night from President Zelensky. Can you give us a sense of when President Trump now plans to sign that minerals deal after receiving that letter?
Those talks are happening as we speak. I just saw the National Security Advisor. He's working very hard on it. I believe he was going into the Oval Office to give the president an update on where this stands. But again, the president is committed to a peace deal. He wants to see this war end. And I think that President Zelensky's message, which he also shared on X as well, is a positive sign in the right direction.
All right, dude, I'm ready. I'm so ready, dude. This is gonna be crazy.
He also said that the United States was reclaiming the Panama Canal. The president of Panama this morning, or at some point today, said that President Trump was lying. Wanted to get your response to that, and also curious if the president had a reason for not specifically mentioning BlackRock last night when he was praising the company that is buying canals or ports around the Panama.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Panama has seen what's going on with their own canal, but as you just mentioned, BlackRock is now interested in investing and taking over the two ends of the port, which is...
BlackRock? Dude, I gotta do a deep dive on BlackRock. Right? Is that the financial company that apparently owns everything and like pushed the DEI shit everywhere? And now they're just completely changing the game, flipping to Team Trump now that the culture's shifted? Holy shit. Oh my god, dude, these guys. They're the ones with like $10 trillion in assets. They're just manage money and shit. I don't know why BlackRock is bad. I just think it's because money is their #1 goal, and they will push any agenda and fuck with as many people as they need to just to like literally make more money. And that includes pushing DEI or buying the fucking ports and shit like that. Again, I didn't do a full deep dive into that, but damn, that's crazy.
Is very important because the president was very vocal several weeks ago about the need to ensure that China is not controlling the Panama Canal. This is a...
Dude, BlackRock is gonna fucking use their trillions of dollars to just buy Panama's canal. Oh my god.
A very important...
Right, someone in my chat just said BlackRock funded Trump's assassination. That is like mega conspiracy theory, zero evidence, all right? Hold up, bro. They may have been the shadow government, but that's crazy.
Place for the United States of America.
They did have connections to the Butler PA shooter? Wait, actually, are you kidding? Wait. I thought that. Whoa. Wait. No. You're kidding. Okay, whatever. We'll look into that another time. That's insane. Holy, maybe he was cooking. Maybe he was cooking. The assassin was in a Vanguard ad? There's no way, bro. Okay, dude, we're gonna do it. He was in a BlackRock commercial. All right, we're gonna do a deep dive on BlackRock another day. All right, lock in. We'll do a BlackRock deep dive another day. All right. What's BlackRock? They're a $10 trillion investment company that basically is like kind of the shadow government.
America. We also saw that the Panama Canal lifted fees on our U.S. naval ships that are going in and out of the canal. That's a win for the United States of America. And the president will continue to ensure that the Chinese government, the CCP, cannot be infiltrated in the Western Hemisphere, and certainly not in the Panama Canal, which is a very important place for our country. Dasha.
The president continues to call the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, Governor of Canada.
Oh my god, I love these people. They get so warped out of shape for like the stupidest shit in the world. Oh my god, I love that so much. Oh my god, dude, that's insane.
I'm curious what he means by that, and if there are any...
You know what he means by that. He called Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas because she claimed she was a Native American and then proven that she was literally not a Native American with a DNA test. So he called her Pocahontas. He's making fun of Trudeau for being history's giant pussy. Bro, he's making fun of Trudeau because he's unbelievably lame. Okay? As a Canadian.
Plans that are moving forward with trying to make Canada the 51st state, and I have a follow-up on the economy as well.
Sure. Well, the president put that in his True Social account, or his True Social post earlier today. He feels strongly that it would be very beneficial for the Canadian people to be the 51st state of the United States. They wouldn't be paying for these tariffs. They'd have much lower taxes if they were part of our great country.
The economy, you and I traveled the country during the campaign. This is an issue that so many voters decided to cast their ballots on, and they voted for President Trump. He has started to have that realistic conversation with the American people, that disturbance comment last night. But I'm curious if you can be real with Americans right now as all of these factors are playing out. Are things potentially going to get worse before they get better?
Look, I've now been asked and answered this same question, just given to me in different verbiage of 3 different times, and I will answer it again in an effort of transparency to the American people, because this is an important issue, and the American people, this president understands that it is. And again, that's why in his joint address to Congress last night, he addressed this issue with a realistic...
I love how Trump is like actually honest, saying that there's going to be a period of time that you have to transition normally into this tariff situation where things are going to be rocky for a little bit, and that's literally what he ran on. He ran for president with that principle in mind, and they asked her like 3 different times the same question just to try to get her to fumble.
And honest approach. He talked about what this administration is doing to unleash American energy and to make America affordable again, and this administration is wholeheartedly committed to doing it.
Bro said, bear with me for a bit, and all the media are like, hey, he's destroying America.
And I would remind the American public that the first term record of this president speaks volumes. That's why they reelected him, because they know that he can fix our broken economy, and it's very, very broken from the previous administration. Stephen.
Thank you, Caroline. I've got 2 questions, one on press access, and the other on fentanyl and tariffs.
Sure.
On press access, your predecessor...
Dude, I'm just saying. Shout out to my goat. My goat! This guy in the corner over here that you can barely see. I'm just saying, bro. I don't know, man. Listen, man. We got Hasidic Jews in the press conference. The Jews control the government. It's confirmed. It is literally over. The Jews are controlling everything. Who is bro? I don't know, but he's a Hasidic Jew, and it's literally over. The Jews control everything. I can't believe this has happened. Anyway.
Korean Jean-Pierre, who presided over many...
Also, Hasidic Jews are kind of goated. I'm just saying. They're pretty great. Love them.
Press access,
especially the ones in New York. Those guys are awesome.
Restrictions, criticized the recent changes to the press pool made by your office. She said in an interview, quote, what we're looking at is what North Korea is doing. What's your response to that, and can you say anything to allay concerns that unfavorable coverage will be punished in this new press system?
I think that's the same individual who said from this podium numerous times that the commander-in-chief was mentally and physically up for the job, which we knew was a...
People use the freedom of speech argument in the dumbest ways ever. Literally use it in the worst ways ever. Oh, Trump threw a guy that was having a hissy fit in Congress, threw him out. What about freedom of speech? Freedom of speech doesn't mean I need to literally sit there while someone yells and spits on me. Or freedom of speech doesn't mean literally letting people just say random bullshit in front of me. I'm not silencing them, I'm just not letting them in my fucking personal space.
A lie. Many people in this room knew it was a lie. Many of you were...
Yeah, it was a lie. If someone turns out that they lied for all the time when they were reporting about how Biden was physically fit for running and lying about everything else, why on earth should you give that person this podium? Quite frankly, you don't have to. That's not silencing people. This isn't going against freedom of speech. That is the most retarded shit ever. Freedom of speech does not mean screaming at the president and not letting him talk because you're screaming at him.
We're admonished for asking questions about that truth. So when it comes to truth and transparency, this administration, this White House is setting the example. This president is taking far more questions than his predecessor, Joe Biden, did on a daily basis, and that will continue.
And on fentanyl and tariffs, fentanyl produced largely in China has killed 334,000 Americans over 5 years. According to CDC data, that's about 1 in every 1,000 Americans. President Trump has cited this for applying new tariffs to Canada, Mexico, and China. But in addition to China's talk about being ready for any kind of war, they said yesterday, the foreign ministry said that, quote, the fentanyl issue is a flimsy excuse to raise U.S. tariffs, and, quote, U.S., not anyone else, is responsible for the fentanyl crisis. So what's the response to China that the talk of fentanyl is just an excuse for tariffs? And what
you know what she's going to say? She's going to say it's not an excuse.
What does that say about the resolution?
Well, of course, the country that is getting very rich off of distributing this deadly poison to American citizens is going to say that. Again, the president knows where the American people stand on this issue. Fentanyl overdoses. Dasha brought up all of us campaigning all across the country.
I love how she's saying, she was asked the same questions like 4 times.
They talked about inflation. They also talked about the border, the illegal immigrants that we're pouring through, but also these deadly drugs. And again, the president keeps in mind those families every single day when he is making these tough decisions. But it's a necessary decision, and he's no longer going to allow the United States of America to be a dumping ground for illegal immigrants and for illegal drugs that are killing our nation's people. This is the #1 leading cause of death in our country.
That's fucking crazy. And he's actually handling it. Literally.
And there needs to be action taken to ensure that cannot continue.
It's crazy to me how, like, I'm just being honest, all right? I'm just going to tell you something that's going to blow all of your minds. Fentanyl deaths are higher than COVID deaths. But during COVID, there were, like, mandatory lockdowns. Everything got more expensive. Everyone lost their jobs. You got to wear a mask and, you know, you got to get vaccinated if you ever want to leave your house. And fentanyl killed more people in America than COVID. Okay? But now, he goes ahead and he does this shit. And he's like, all right, dude, we're going to do certain things to prevent fentanyl. Wow, he's the bad guy. Like, again, the people, insane. Actual clown world. But anyway, thank you so much for joining. This was the insanity. I actually, I just peeked a little bit. Turns out that Thomas Matthew Crooks, the 20-year-old shooter who tried assassinating Trump, was in fact in a BlackRock ad in 2023. So listen, the conspiracy theory actually did have some water to it. I don't know, it's fucking crazy. But anywho, definitely subscribe, definitely lock in, definitely be there, always be around. I know people are gonna say, oh, technically there were more deaths to COVID, but the numbers for COVID deaths are wildly inflated because all the people that died during that period of time, they called it a COVID death. Even if they had COVID when they died of a car accident, they called it a COVID death. So listen, I don't know the exact numbers, but I do know that the people that are pro taking COVID seriously, but people literally not giving a flying fuck about fentanyl, it's pretty crazy obvious that you are literally audience captured, brain rotted, brain wormed, locked into a political mindset of retardation. subscribe for more honest feedback and potentially offensive language, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.